Welcome to the Startup Grind.
All right, quick clap for that. The Innovation Center, Startup Grind. I'm going to let David, who's going to be hosting today, kind of break it down for you about Glenna. I know we're honored to have you here tonight, Glenna, with us. Thank you. Before we dive in, I just want to tell you a little bit about where you are. Any first-timers in the building today? Awesome. That's what this is all about. Thank you, Jack. So you're in the Innovation Center, and the Innovation Center is, in my opinion, one of the coolest places on campus. So it is where building businesses takes place on the medical campus. When people hear Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, they think, oh, Graswell Park, Units, Kaleida, the new medical school, the upcoming Children's Hospital, but nobody thinks and nobody knows much about the entrepreneurial efforts that we have here, not only in this room alone, but with 43 North and C80, who are entrepreneurial powerhouses here in Buffalo, bringing talents from all over the world into Buffalo to work, live, play, and fall in love with the city that we call home. Glad I happen to be one of those people. So, we'll clap her up for that. I put on all of your seats, dig for a day passes, right? So, take it through that. It's my invitation for you to spend one day here at DIG. DIG stands for Design Innovation Garage. Also, in my opinion, it's one of the most beautiful places in Buffalo for a number of reasons. One, it was designed by the University at Buffalo. We'll get to that, right? It was designed by the University of Buffalo Architectural Program. So we put out an RFP. We received a number of offers. University of Buffalo happened to offer to do it for free, so we went with that, right? So with that, with DIG in mind, DIG stands for Design Innovation Garage. So with that in mind, we maintain the design feel. We maintain the wrenches on the walls, the socket, or whatever that is. I can never remember. Spark plug. And when people come in and need help with their businesses, and we provide some help or support, we call them mechanics. And while at the present moment the mechanics program is being revamped and overhauled, but we do provide space for your business to grow and resources for your business to take advantage of. So that's really amazing. It's not offered really anywhere else in Buffalo outside of UB, but I encourage you to come and spend one day with us if you are just sick of working from home, trying to get out of the coffee shop, building a business. You get to hang out with me and if you're a DIG member, any DIG members today? There's Michelle. There's my man over here. Sorry, drawing on your name. Brian. So basically, all you do is you bring us to the front desk, say I'm here to DIG for a day. They say send. They'll call me. I say send them back, and the rest is going to be history. So please come hang out with us. So welcome to Startup Grind. What is Startup Grind? Is this first time Startup Grind? Anybody? Okay, cool, great. Okay, so Startup Grind is a Silicon Valley-based organization that educates and mentors entrepreneurs through monthly business events and speaking series in cities across the globe. Events take place in 200 cities and over 85 countries worldwide. In Buffalo, we are about 2 years deep, but David and I recently took over the chapter because Evan moved to California. So our team is kind of all present, but not so much. Myself and David are the co-directors. Liz Callahan is not present, I don't think. I saw Dylan. Mark Vega, not sure if he's here. Yeah. We see him? There he is. Okay. Neil Carroll.
We're missing about half the team. We've got about 20 people working with us so far. Mind if I describe it?
No, you take it.
All right. So one of the things that we've been doing since John and I took over is to really take it out of the startup phase that Evan had it in, to really expand this and use Startup Grind Buffalo as an opportunity to be the entry point and watering hole for the Buffalo entrepreneurial ecosystem. So our goal is to be able to find an event such as this that allows us to bring people in, build connections, and make them aware of the resources that are already available for you in Buffalo, and funnel them along so that we can increase our ecosystem. And tonight's actually one of our major points is that we're also having a major focus on having women and minority business owners. So we, at least with our team, made a minimum commitment of every third month is going to be somebody that doesn't look like me. And this is our first one as a recommendation from the Canisius Women's Business Center. I always mess that up. Did I get it one? I always want to say Women's Business something else. But we've got Glenna coming in today, who should be absolutely phenomenal. I sat down with her over lunch at Jasmine Thai restaurant, and I was floored by some of the things that she had, not just for the science geeks in the room, but also how it really makes sense for the business experience that she has as you grow your business or start to grow your business as it goes along. We do have an advisory board as well, because what we're trying to do is build this ecosystem. So we've reached out to the major heads of the major entrepreneurial organizations in Buffalo and are trying to work with them to identify what it is our ecosystem does need to grow. We have several sponsors: 43 North, the Innovation Center, which we've just heard everything about, the Buffalo Medical Campus, Nickel City Graphics, which we have in the back doing our video, so you'll see that online. The Innovation Center, again, Sean really loves it. And Martin Davison Public Relations, who I hope that you guys all reach out to. We've had past speakers that each kind of represent different industries where we all try to tie into a little bit of a tech focus, but we've expanded to branch out to the areas and industries that Buffalo has the most resources for, so that we expand beyond just tech to advanced manufacturing, healthcare, biomed, the areas where Buffalo has an existing ecosystem, so that if you come in as an entrepreneur, there'll be people there to help you launch. And so with Glenna coming up, I didn't prepare too big of an introduction for her because I'm not sciencey enough to explain everything that's going on. So instead, I will let her go into detail, but Glenna is a 43 North winner with Cytocybernetics. And what I've heard described, and about half of what I understood when we were talking about what's going on, is we've got teeny tiny Ironmans and cellular cyborgs, which are doing some pretty amazing things that I'll let her talk about. So let's have a round of applause for Glenna. All right. Have we got it on? Not yet. There we go. Okay. So Cytocybernetics has been described as building teeny tiny Ironmans. Could you explain what it is you've accomplished here and what is the potential impact?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And thank me for not looking like you. It's good to be what is it? Every third session?
Yeah, every third session, minimum, not limiting.
Wait, every third session, which is good. So, what we do is completely inaccessible. It keeps you safe. When you take drugs, you know, when you see on the TV and the side effects, you might get a bit dry mouth, might get drowsy. There's some side effects that are okay and acceptable to have if you're going to take a drug that's going to treat something. But if the side effects are heart attacks and death, they're not so good. And there's been a number of drugs that when they came to market, and it was innocuous drugs to settle indigestion, drugs to treat allergies, and they have those side effects, heart attacks and death. Not such a big thing. So now, once those drugs were withdrawn from the market, all kinds of consequences there, now any new drug which comes to market has to demonstrate that it doesn't cause heart attacks as a side effect. And you think, well, that's going to be pretty rare. No, actually, 70% of new drugs that come to market have the side effects. It's bizarre. These are drugs designed to treat cancer, drugs designed to treat allergies, asthma, anti-cancer, everything. It's just bizarre that all these drugs interact with the heart, cause heart attack. So of course, drug safety screening, as it's called, is a very big market. And that's one of the major markets we're in. How we do this is also very inaccessible. So most of the cells in your body are electrically active. You see that most clearly when you think about the EKG. Everybody knows about the EKG. Boop, beep, boop, beep. It's on every single TV show, right? Because this is a dramatic device. Boop, beep, beep. Then you know the person's dead, then you move on with the drama. So, but that little EKG is the integrated electrical signal from billions of cells in your heart. And you can't go backward from some surface EKG to know what's really going on in your heart. So what we do is we look at the individual heart cells. We isolate them down to a single teeny tiny heart cell, 100 micron by 10 micron. If you don't know micron, small, exceedingly small by exceedingly small. Have to look down the microscope. And we look at the electrical activity. We've been able to look at the electrical activity in cells quite well now. It's like taking a voltmeter, putting it across the cell, and you go, ooh, look at the electrical activity. You can look at that. And you can do a few little manipulations. But what we bring to the table is that we've been modeling, making mathematical models of some of these electrical currents. And you can do that, and it takes a while. But now we have the mathematical modeling where we make those currents and we can solve them exceedingly quickly. And we develop the hardware so that we can interact with the cell exceedingly fast, so that we can pretend that we're actually a part of that cell in real time. We become a part of the living cell. It's way, way, way cool. And it's got so many applications. I'm sure you're just full of applications. You can think of it now. If you're in the field, you get excited about it. But it really is like a teeny tiny cellular cyborg. It's part cell, part machine. It's just like Iron Man. That's what we do.
All right.
We should do taxes, right? People would get it.
All right. So I know I'm sorry for the non-science people in the room for what did or did not understand, but it is pretty amazing even when you try and think through it. And then, could you give us an idea of how Cytocybernetics was born?
Absolutely. So this is tech transfer out of the University of Buffalo. We developed this as part of our research because I needed to be able to do this for a particular project I was working on. And I built this, put this horrible thing together, used it, went and presented it at one of the big international meetings, and people were excited. They came at the end of the presentation, people came up and said, "Oh, that's so cool. I would like to be able to do that for my research too. Where can I get that device?" And I said, "Oh, sure, we're selling it." And of course we weren't. And there was no way that you could sell that jumble of electronics and nastiness. So we had to form a company and make something that looked very pretty and looked like all the other electronics devices. And that's how Cytocybernetics was born.
All right. So we're going to get a bit into that in a second, but one question that I do have, also as a shout out for the people who brought her in, is we know you've worked with the Canisius Women's Business Center. Can you elaborate on the value that they and similar organizations can provide to a nascent startup?
So, sorry guys, this one isn't for you. This is for the women in the room. And the Canisius Women's Business Center, which is headed by Sarah over there, is just the most incredible organization. And it's too bad there isn't one for the guys, because it's all missing out. Really missing out. It's incredible. Sarah has put together a fantastic team. Jessica was my leader of my group. And okay, so you get taught about accountancy and legal and HR and all those wonderful things that you need to know. And that's an important part. But there's other people offering that. What the Women's Business Center really offers is joining in with other CEOs at the same stage of business. They have early, maturing, and very mature businesses. And you just get to sit down once a month and talk about your businesses. And it's completely different businesses, and it's wonderful because if someone's having the same problem as you, and so if I'm having the same issues that the lady who's doing snowmobiling clothes for baby is having, I know it's not me, it's the process. And it's just wonderful to share with those people, and also to have the accountability. Just a very tough one, accountability. What have you done this month? What are your plans for next month? And it's it's just a really wonderful environment where you feel that you're part of a team and not your business team. It's so nice to step away from the rest of the business team and to be sharing with other people who are in completely different areas. And the support of the Canisius Women's Business Centre, it was absolutely wonderful. And usually mentoring and sharing and everything else. But that networking, being with the women's business centre, every woman, if you don't know Sarah, you should talk to her and ask how to sign up for those programs. It's wonderful. It's really good.
So that was great, and just to elaborate on that for the men in the room and to put it down, is that you really do want to try and have other people that are having the same problems as you, because one of the biggest things that I've learned, even just being on the periphery of the entrepreneurship ecosystem, is people are having the same problems no matter what industry it is. A lot of it does boil down to some concrete specifics of working with people, where are you working with VCs, how are you doing all of the basic accounting work, and just solving a lot of that 80-20 rule, where 80% of the work are things that are going to be similar that you're going to want to figure out. So organizations such as the Canisius Women's Business Center and BIG and all of these others are something that you want to never underestimate the value of. And with that 80% that goes in, we're going to try to isolate some of the general business principles that Glenna has, even though she's working in such a disparate field to a lot of people in Buffalo. And you really started to mention it, but can you just say what was the point you knew you had a business product market fit, and kind of extend on where you went from there?
So we knew we had a product when we had people lining up at the academic talk, and thought, all right, we better get going on this. And the plan was that, so what we have is, it's a box, it's electronics, it's mathematical modeling, so it's a device. We call it the Cybercyte. And we envisaged we would be selling this Cybercyte to our academic customers, and there's also this opportunity for drug safety screening, but we were going to be selling this to pharma and biotech. What surprised us when we started looking into working with pharma was they didn't want to buy it. They said, oh, no, we want you to do the experiments. We want to ship the drugs off to you. We want you to do all the work and send us the data back. And that wasn't something we considered at all. But when every single person on the drug pharma side kept on saying, no, you do the experiments work. Okay, so I guess our business is changing. We're going into the services, and that was something I hadn't envisaged, but now it's an incredibly important part of the business. And in fact, it was the guys at UB STOR, big shout out to the guys at UB STOR, who noted that that was a much bigger market, addressable market, than just selling the device. And they were very encouraging in getting us to get into that sphere. So we've set up a fully functioning commercial lab as kind of a startup New York space on UB South Campus, and now we're offering services which I never dreamed we would be doing a year ago, so long ago.
So you covered a good bit of my next question of that sales versus service, but would you like to go a little further into depth on how you've had to alter your company from that sales perspective to make that pivot switch on service?
Yes, selling the device obviously is a completely different skill set because you're just manufacturing the device and selling it. To do the services in-house, you need to have a skill set that is very, very specific. How to do the water tablet physiology. It's a complicated skill set. It's not, you can't just send out an announcement going, we're hiring. It takes a lot of training. You basically need a PhD in it to be able to operate this stuff. And in one way that's quite difficult because you're having to hire highly paid people to do those services. But on the other hand, once you've got them, it's a pretty big moat that we're putting around our product because we have the talent, we can do those services. but it's a whole different set of people than we thought we were just going to be manufacturing this device and having it made and shipped out. But now we're a lot more of the service industry, recruiting extra people. We're going to have additional people coming on. Now we're into service industry because it's so dependent on manpower, people power, person power. We're going into automation. So our next phase is going to be robotic operation with, instead of just looking at one heart cell at a time, looking at several heart cells. So it's pushed us into whole new directions, which is exciting, scary, as most things are.
So I really liked when you were saying it was making the pivot. When we had our initial discussion, what really made the impact to me, to translate it back to some of the others, was that you had said to me that you were just kind of thinking, and you talked about somebody who was a Nobel Prize winner, when you reached out and wanted to buy the device, and you were like, if anybody could have made this device, it could have been this person. So it's never underestimate the value of what you've created, that you're making it easier for someone else, that they wouldn't have to do it. So even if you're doing something that is replicable, and almost anything is replicable, especially once you've done it, you always want to keep in mind whether it's easier for them to buy it than to do it themselves. And then one of the pieces that you had really talked about was that importance that you had done all of your development in-house, which might have taken more time, but if you want to elaborate, because you were pretty passionate about that value.
Yes, so the Cybercyte started as a collection of wires in a lab as a mess. And the first thing we had to do was turn it into a commercial product. And we very much took the decision that we needed to take control of this from the very beginning. We could have outsourced everything and run us into the ground financially pretty quickly. But what we did was we just hand-etched our initial boards, hand-soldered them, hand-drilled the casing, got back to old stuff I hadn't done in quite a while, and built every device by hand until we got to we set those were our initial devices that we sent out to the beta testers. They came back, we made some modifications, and it's only recently, earlier this month, that we got our first commercial product run. And that's very important because doing everything in-house means it saves an awful lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And startups, whenever you're looking for someone else to do the design, do the manufacturing, and so our team is pretty broad. Randy has an electrical engineering business background, I'm more of the physics background, so we have very complementary skills, and we've dredged up old talents. There's a certain mystique about the teenager who does something and produces something amazing, which is it's very easy to do when you're talking about software, but when it comes to engineering and device development, you have to draw on so many strengths that it really is an older person's game. And when we won 43 North, earlier, one of the press people came up to us and said, "How does it feel to be the old guys in the competition?" I went, "Really?" I looked around and I suppose a lot of them were younger, but a lot of them were software people, which is easier to make something really good happen in software. But to make something really good in biomedical devices, you need a little bit of training. A lot of training. A lot of training. It's not something you're going to drop out of college and suddenly do, unless you're on thin ice, as in certain Stanford chemical engineer who dropped out and said that she built a device to bet Theranos.
Yeah.
you don't really drop out of school and build a device that is superior to something that a lot of thought has gone into. Software, absolutely, because it's a different field. But biomedical engineering, it generally have to have a bigger skill set.
So that really tied in with what a lot of people have said, where if you were at Zach Schneider 2 months ago, it was really about having the value of every time you've seen an overnight success, they're not. They've put in the work, they've done something. Zach started his own business after 7 years working in. So never undervalue that you want to truly understand your industry before you jump in. And the team aspect, that the one that brings up the most for me is that story on Shark Tank, where those men went up saying they had an app for firefighters that showed them something. They asked them how much they paid for it, and it was like $4 million. And they were just like, well, you're never going to get that back. So get those technical co-founders, get every aspect, and just that importance of having a team that outsourcing at the beginning isn't necessarily going to work out for you. We're going to move into a little bit of the science and entrepreneurship, where you've mentioned to me that you've had some issues working with VCs, referring to you as a scientist CEO, and I thought that was an interesting thing that anybody might have to face, so if you could elaborate on it.
Sure, this is a really important point. So, I'm a scientist, obviously. I'm kind of being a prof at UB and then doing transition into being a CEO. Though I have to say I've been involved in startups since I was an undergrad doing software development, which is easy to do. But this is the first real major CEO venture. And people, angel investors and VCs came up and said, oh, you can't be a CEO because you're a scientist. What? And it just didn't make sense. I thought it was a joke. And then I had a lot of people say it. I'm like, well, I'm not joking. Apparently you can't be a scientist and be a CEO. Well, given my background, a lot of people have told me I can't do things for various reasons. Can't do it because you're a woman, don't do it because you're British, don't do it too young, too old, whatever it is. So I'm like, why can't I be a CEO and be a scientist? And then it was, oh, you see, you can do it, but not all the scientists are like you. So I'm the acceptable face of CEO scientists, and just not to bring my other CEO scientist hands around. I have no idea. It's silly, is the polite way. It's really, really silly. And it's important for Buffalo, and this isn't a Buffalo thing. This is across the country. If you're going to be dealing with a product like mine, which is highly technical, I'm not selling to the people on the street. I'm selling business to business. You need to know the technical specs. Anybody who wants to interact with me, wants to buy my product, is going to ask me all those technical specs. You can't train somebody to be able to have that broad answers that you've got to be able to express every nook and cranny of this device, what it brings, what it can do. So obviously there's something wrong there. And we had fortunately had good advice from a lot of friends of ours who've done tech transfer over the past 20 years or so. I know a lot of people who start up companies who were professors at UB across the country, and they said, oh, first thing they're going to do is voice a CEO, an external CEO on you. You're going to pay that person a lot of money. They're going to stay with you a couple of years, and they're going to go on and go be a serial entrepreneur somewhere else. You'll be poorer. Your device will not succeed. Just don't let them do it to you. All right. And so I'm still a CEO until the point comes that everybody understands what Cybercyte is, and it's just a commodity and go elsewhere. But whenever we launch new products, there's a company in California that is growing. They just launched a whole new product range, and they had a fancy launch. The person who was describing it to everyone didn't know the tech specs. It was not well received. Now, I like to go on the flip side. So, if you're a scientist, you'd be a CEO. Nothing against it. Especially if it's a really technical product. When they say you can't be a scientist and a CEO, you say, yes, I can. And I know someone. Say, you know me. And I said it was okay. And the other thing, you need to flip around and you need to say to angels and VCs, if you are investing in biomedical engineering companies, the kind of stuff I do, if you're going to be investing in my kind of company, if you don't have a scientist nerd, engineer nerd on your board, you shouldn't be operating. Look at Theranos. Today, some investor just announced that they were going to sue Theranos because they've been misled. Well, what are they being misled about? Who in their right mind could believe that a 19-year-old had come up with a blood prick that was going to replace a blood draw? Seriously? I don't know why anyone would believe it. I know a lot of tech companies, locally, nationally, whose products don't do what it says on the box. I know who they are, and I'm not going to tell you. And if you ask my consulting service, I will tell you. And in some cases, it's not important, okay? When you buy a car, nobody talks about overhead cam V8 engines anymore. Nobody's interested. You buy a car because you like the music that plays when they advertise the car. You like the pictures, whether it's the snow scene or whatever, and that's fine. The tech doesn't actually do anything, but it makes you feel good when you buy it, and if that's the company, that's okay, and that's a great investment. But if your company is based on your device actually working, like if my device doesn't work, I have no company. You don't feel good buying my device. If you have a company where you say that you can get a prick of blood and you're going to do the same analysis that you're going to do on a vial of blood drawn, you better have a device that works. And so if you have one of those critical companies, you need to know whether this is a good investment or not. And angels and VCs really need to get some scientists and engineers on their board so that they know what's going on.
So just with that, for the people who are interested in science or just outside of general business and not, that same trend of exactly what you said is everybody's saying the opposite. Every businessman is saying they don't have a technical founder, and every technical founder says they don't know enough business. Part of that's being a team, but at the same time, just because I graduated from a business degree does not qualify me to be a CEO any more than having a science degree disqualifies her from being a CEO. Those qualities are something you build up. And that was actually, and it might be the Canisius Women's Business Center again, but I'd like to see some insight into when you jumped into this, or whether it was further back, coming from a non-business background, what were the things that you did notice, hey, I do have to learn this in order to be able to succeed?
So that's kind of an interesting question. It may seem like a science nerd, but I do get out in the world. My brother is a successful businessman. Talk to him occasionally, and other people in the planet. So I'm not completely blind to what goes on in business. Same as business people are not completely blind to what's going on in the science world. So, so it's a continual learning process, and as I said, I've been involved in businesses since I was an undergraduate. I was involved in a couple of startups then, and I saw some things I liked how they ran them, and I saw some things that I didn't like how they were run. But everyone's really willing to criticize you when you're a CEO, and that's a great thing. A lot of it's nonsense. But some of it's really, really good. And if someone points out that you don't have those abilities, and when I was asking people, why can't I be a scientist and CEO? What is it about me? Nobody actually said anything. But if you can get that kind of feedback of, well, you're too structured or too, I mean, the crazy notion that I would, at a business meeting, talk the same way that I would talk at a scientific meeting. It's just the same as navigating. You wouldn't talk to your employees the same way as you talk at a PTA meeting, right? You have different ways of interacting in different places. And the other thing, when somebody said, when all those people told me I couldn't be a CEO because I was a scientist, I actually looked up a lot of the top 10 CEOs. Pick anyone you want. There's Forbes magazine, there's this magazine, there's that magazine, Harvard's Business Review top 10. About 50% of them are scientists and engineers. So it's not based in fact, whichever list you look at. But there are some qualities that you have to get over. You can't have the meticulous scientific attention to specifics when you're in a business meeting. But it's kind of common sense. And especially now, it's so easy to access all the information. Sarah's wonderful training program about how to present yourself, how to talk with everything. And then you've just got great resources. So about 10 seconds before I came up here, we have a person in Japan who wants to be our distributor, and came up, volunteered last week, reached out to us, said, I want to distribute your product in Japan. Whoa, that's awesome. Yikes, I don't know what to do. You surround yourself with wonderful people like Brendan Rich, who knows what to do. I said to him, this has happened, I'm scared to death. He says, oh, that's easy. You just do this, and this. So part of it is identifying your own weaknesses, and you have a choice. You can either overcome those weaknesses, so it's something you yourself can do, or you get great people on your team, like Brendan, and wonderful insight from Jack too, and Jack McGowan and Tom at the back there. That's the wonderful thing about the Buffalo community. If you have a weakness, there's such a great support system. You don't have to do everything yourself. You shouldn't do everything yourself.
All right. And so the last topic we're going to talk about, because of course we do have a woman to ask, is General Woman in Entrepreneurship. And I did discuss with her, because she wanted to safe word some of the things that she wanted to talk about or not. But there was a survey at Harvard which floored me, and I'd like you to just kind of go over it and what it means for everybody in the room, women and men, looking at it from both directions.
Sure. So you can't be a scientist, you can't be a CEO because your scientist floored me, because I was expecting you can't be CEO because you're a woman. I'm ready for that one. But what I wasn't ready for, there was a study out of the Harvard Business School and the Wharton School. And it's fascinating. They made a video pitch. They did 3 different things in this. You really should you should post the paper so somebody could look at the details if they want to see it.
Can do.
And so they did 2 or 3 things, but this one really floored me. They did a video pitch to veterinary medical products. Product A, product B. They made 2 versions of the video for product A and 2 versions of the video for product B. One was voiced by a female, one was voiced by a man, for both ones. We've got 4 videos and the 2 products. They showed 600 and something odd investors these 2 videos. You've got one company with a male voice, one company with a female voice. So you saw 2 companies and it was randomly the male, female, 68% invested in the male voice. 32% invested in the female voice. It was word perfect. It was a scripted document. So the message is, I'm twice as good as you think I am, but you're discounting me. Or the British accent makes you think I'm twice as good as I really am. I think it's a lot for me. It doesn't really count for me. But there were several other measures. But that's kind of disturbing that just the same product on a video page, voiced by a female, voiced by a male, has such a dramatic difference on whether people are going to invest in that company. If you're an investor, you could be missing out on a really good company because of the pitch. And if you're a female pitch, you may be missing out on some opportunities and funding. So, what to do? Well, everybody here is in the startup scene, either as a startup or an investor or in both. So, if you're in a situation where you have some input, you should speak up. There's nothing. So you have these startup pitch competitions all over the country, and they're judged by entrepreneurs. There's nothing in becoming an entrepreneur that makes you a really good judge of other companies, especially the broad and the portfolios. And if you don't know that you're discounting a female pitch, well, that's a problem. So we need, first of all, to make people aware of this innate bias. It's been shown in a whole load of things. This implicit bias that nobody really discusses. So if you're running an elevator pitch competition or anything else, make sure that you say to the judges, by the way, this study, 68% versus 2%, keep that in mind when you're judging the pitches. If you're in business school discussing anything, make sure that you're communicating, because the first thing is just awareness of this. And once you know that, then you can do a little self-assessment of, well, am I really truly judging them on their abilities? I mean, it's not surprising because you know all those studies when they have the violinists audition for the orchestra. If you can see the person, you're much more likely to select the male violinist than the female violinist. When they're behind a screen, it goes away. It's 50-50. So we have this implicit bias. And of course, you can't ask a female CEO not to be a. Well, there you go. Can't be a CEO because you're female. That's what they should be saying to me. But maybe we should address that instead, and we should help people know that this is an implicit bias, and everybody work to address this.
So one last question before we get to the standard ender is, do you have any thoughts or advice for women seeking to be in entrepreneurship or men on making a more inclusive and diverse environment and just kind of making it work?
You have to know the facts. You have to be aware of this kind of study. It's not confrontational. It was a really good study. It was done with Wharton and Harvard, and it's published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. It's been shown over and over again. So, raising awareness of this and speaking up. I was in a meeting 3 weeks ago, and it was a completely bizarre meeting. It was nothing to do with startups, it was completely something else. And I felt I'd walked into the 1970s. It was really weird. It was all older men in the room and me. And it was just really, really weird and uncomfortable because they were acting like it was the 1970s. And nobody seemed to be aware, and we were judging people. And nobody seemed to be aware of any of the literature of the past 20, 30 years about implicit bias and the things that they're not fairly judging the different candidates. And it was bizarre. But I'm presented with this question, well, what do? Do I become the angry little lady in the room going, no, that's wrong, that's wrong? How do you educate a room full of people instantaneously? There's not much you can do apart from, in a positive way, trying to engage people with evidence. And it very much relies on men and women talking about this, because if I'm the only one in the room going, hey, that study, 68%, 33%, it needs to come from the men too. And have you ever asked a woman CEO if there's anything you can do now? Anything that in your actions you could be doing something? Because, you know, being a female CEO, I'm also a female in life too.
Really?
And so you've got this whole cultural thing going on, and it's society as a whole that is getting better in a lot of ways, but there's just some things that people aren't aware that they're doing, and it generally tends to be that people aren't aware, and if you inform people in a very positive way, then it's great. And then it's also super just have the shelter of the Women's Business Centre. It's a different dimension. We don't have any of that 68, 32 stuff come into play, because everyone's a woman. And so that's off the table, and we don't have to worry about the dominant man in the room taking control, as sometimes happens. But it's just education, and so please, men, educate yourself, and please speak up, and ask questions. I was in another meeting, and somebody was saying that women should just say that they need time to go pick up their children from school, and this other kind of thing. And until a very senior person in the room pointed out that if a woman says, well, I need to go now because I need to pick up my children from school, she is seen as a woman who takes time away from her job, from her position. But if a man says, oh, I must go pick up my children from school now, the reaction is, oh, what a great family man he is. And he was mortified because he didn't know that that was the perception, because he was younger and happier, and it was the older people in the room that were making decisions about whether to retain these people that had that different opinion. So keep the discussion going. If you see something, say something, because you have to get tired of being the one going, excuse me, that's kind of wrong, you shouldn't say that. It'd be nice if other people said it too.
Thank you. So our token final question, which I didn't put on here, so if you haven't been, it's a surprise. But before we open it up to the audience, if Buffalo is to succeed, it needs more of what?
Scientists.
I'll take it. All right, questions from the audience? Don't be shy now. Oh, Naz, can you speak in back there?
Yeah, I know you had said multiple times in a couple of the questions about the skill set and the resources, especially under your area, which is very niche, right? I'm just going to ask a couple of questions because the series of questions that falls under that category. So, how long it takes for you guys? First of all, do you guys still have the scarcity of your resources, especially under your pharma service industry that you're trying to provide for your research and all that? Or are you guys fully staffed?
So staffing is the thing that keeps me up at night. Absolutely. And I think we're not the only ones. I believe that's one of the 80% things that we share. Finding the key talent and retaining them is tough. So we're at a decision point now. We have an opportunity to hire another talented person, big salary associated with that, because it's a high-tech job. That means we must get the services, we must increase our service side. It's a continuous struggle getting that one right.
And just to follow up on the question, how long usually it takes you guys to fill up a position or get the perfect niche of the resource on an average?
So we do everything in-house. Between my co-founder and I, we're capable of doing everything ourselves. It's not to be recommended. Have any visions of any sleep whatsoever. We've tried recruiting, but having a goal of recruiting person X by time Y doesn't work for us. We're much better off biding our time, finding the people to come along and go, right, you join our team. And it's difficult because the skill sets that we need are so particular. It keeps us up at night. Once we recruit this person that we're trying to recruit now, which will be a good time, I have no idea where the next one would come from. But some of that's as we're growing. He approached us and said, hey, I hear your company's doing pretty well. I'd like to be part of the team. He came up and he saw us and he's a great fit. And we want to make it happen because we know he's the right person. So it's not, you just can't put a health wanted sign out. And I worry about recruiting the talent. And once we recruited them, we retain them. Make sure we retain them. Make sure they have enough of a invested interest in whichever way we want to invest them. And that they feel part of the team and that they get what you're doing so that they don't want to be doing it for anybody else. We have a great team, works 10 employees now, and they're very special. Lots of pizza parties. They're scientists and engineers. They love pizza parties. Okay,
Well, I did certainly have a selfish interest to ask those questions. I just started my startup, and he's going to come and CIO here too. We do staffing. We are a one-stop shop, especially, and I didn't see anything like that in Buffalo. So that's why I wanted to ask you that question, because we just started a month ago, and we wanted to know how this market and everything, because we went into a biomedical industry, even though we do healthcare staffing as well, but we have not.
So biomedical is so, the skill set can be so narrow. It can be very, very difficult. Very difficult. But yes, it's new.
As a presumably full-time CEO, do you still get to be a scientist occasionally? And if so, what does that look like?
Oh, yeah, it gets kind of crazy. So, yeah, I'm a full-time scientist, full-time CEO, and worlds collide sometimes, and you just have to keep everything very compartmentalized and know when you're on CEO duty, know when you're on scientist duty, and it's a challenge. It is a challenge. But because we tech transfer and because we come out of UB, we have the wonderful resources of UB STOR, and they're very, very supportive. And then a lot of the funding we get is UBCAT, state funding. So we couldn't do it if we didn't have a hybrid UB research lab going on, and then the company. It does get interesting.
Do you still get to do research and publish and go to conferences? From your
Absolutely,
previous
because the major trade show we went to 2 weeks ago was neuroscience, which is a huge academic meeting. There's 30,000 people, 26,000 of whom are academics. And we're selling to neuronal is another pivot we've made. There's a lot of interest in what we're doing from neuronal companies and from neuroscientists. So we went there as a first trade show. So there's very much overlap. And when we go to these huge trade shows, we present scientific papers, which is the best form of advertising you can have, because to get the paper out, it's got to be peer reviewed, and it's not just a white paper that we put on the website. It's peer reviewed and it's published in leading journals so that people know that people have really looked at this. So it's difficult, but very, very important that we keep that academic side because of the markets that we're looking at, in addition to pharma.
I know you talked about some stereotypes within scientists not being able to be CEOs. Have you ever noticed any other stereotypes that are prominent in the startup culture, like say, because you're an engineer, you can't be in marketing?
Oh yes, I've heard everything, but you can't be this, you can't be that. What is that bad? Try being a female growing up with, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Yes, ma'am. And some people tell you you can't do it, and it's for very specific reasons. So I always ask, well, why not? What's the problem? And starts dialogue. And I just question. So what is it that you think you can't do? And most commonly what they're getting at is they think you're unable to say, if somebody came up to you and said, could you get me this device with this certain change in it? And the scientist's brain would go, well, it would depend on if I could get this, and then I'd have to calibrate that, but if that doesn't work, then I'd have to try this and this and this. Whereas in business, you obviously just say, sure I can, when do you want them by? And you're panicking with everything in the background. That's essentially why you can't be a CEO, if you're unable to ditch the detail and just say, sure, I can do it, and then negotiate things further down the line. But 50%, you look at any of those lists, 50% of CEOs are scientists or engineers. And of course, we make team time Iron Man, so the best CEO ever, Tony Stark. Electrical engineering, computer science, MIT. So don't stand for it.
So your business has come so far, I'm pretty loud, so in such a short period of time, developing your idea and developing your team and finding funders. Where's your business going from here? Where's your vision, where are your goals, and where are you headed?
So the next step that I'm really excited about is the automation, where we have our device that's focused for one person to work on one cell at a time. And now we're hooking up with manufacturers of this multi-track system that can look at 60, can look at 32 cells at a time, which is robotically driven. And we need to upgrade our device so that we can interact with this machine rather than using one person, one cell at a time. So that'll be high throughput, get a lot more data, and really excited about getting into the robotic side of stuff. It'll mean a lot more pivots that I don't know are coming yet. And there's nothing more exciting than when you hit a pivot. Now I'm used to it. The first couple of pivots were scary. It's like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to sell the device, and that's it. So now I'm ready. I know that automation, the robotic system is very exciting, and I have a very well-defined path that goes right there, and I know it's going to be pivot, 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 and I'm ready, and I'm excited for pivots. I have no idea what they're going to be, because they don't pivots otherwise.
Alright, sorry, that was the last question because we're watching this. I had to double check. But how about a round of applause